Alright guys, welcome back to another video. As you can probably see, I am sweating my ass off because it's 937 degrees. But the good news is we are headed to the dyno. I purposely left out, skipped a bunch of steps in the build process because it's kind of boring, you know, a bunch of wiring and blah blah blah. So anyways, let's get to the action. But I hope these guys are ready to get to work. So it is the next day. We made it to the dyno. Things didn't really go as planned, but this video is going to take a little bit of a turn. I'm going to explain to you exactly what happened, and you can kind of get an idea as we go along. But I'm waiting for Brian to get here, and we're going to do a few things. But right now I'm going to throw in a clip of the car on the dyno. One of the only pulls that it made where it kind of made it to red line. So the problem was, no matter what I did to it, it couldn't, or it wouldn't get any fuel, and it kept leaning out over and over and over. On 7.7 pounds of boost, it managed about 717 horsepower, which is kind of right in line with what I expected. That's great. That's just telling me that turbo is going to be a monster. So, got lots of little things to tidy up. We have an exhaust leak that's just driving me nuts, among other things. So we're going to do some work on the car. So check out that clip right about now. Okay, so Brian just got here and he's avoiding the camera. Say hi to the camera, Brian. There he is, back there in the back. But before I show you those video clips I was talking about a minute ago, I wanted to show you what has been done to the car recently to get it to a running state, because I skipped a lot because wiring is really boring. So this is it in a nutshell. The engine bay is all loomed up nice and pretty. The breather hoses you see in the back for the overflow tank are kind of temporary because they were actually set up for the other car. And go around to the inside, and this portion of the wiring is actually pretty much done. There's a few things that I'm going to add to it, and then we'll start putting the interior back in it. But as I said earlier, the dyno was pretty it was uneventful, despite the fact of not being able to get enough fuel to the engine, presumably for clogged injectors. So I was just talking to Brian when he walked up, and it's got an exhaust leak, so we're going to pull the headers and stuff off of it, but I can actually hook the laptop up to it, and I can trigger the methanol injectors and the pump, and we're going to see what the injectors look like spraying the fuel out of it, and that'll kind of give us a good idea of if that's really what's wrong with it. So let's do that real quick. Okay, we got the headers off, and Brian is running from the camera again. We're trying to find out the problems on the dyno before I go too far into troubleshooting, I guess. So what we're going to do is we're going to test the methanol injectors by themselves and see if the spray pattern looks like it's working correctly, or if it's spraying correctly, or if it's spraying at all, or whatever. All 16 of these injectors came off of this motor when it was in the other car, and so I suspect that it is probably got some contaminants in them, or they're clogged from E85 funk or something like that. So let's test them out and see what it looks like. All right, first things first, we're going to turn on the methanol pump, and we're going to pulse one side of the injectors. And that is terrible.
It's like splattering raw fuel.
Yeah, let's check the other side. Doesn't look real good. Okay, so what you got to see there was two drastically different settings on the pulse width on the injectors. The first one is more representative of the pulse width that you would see just at low engine speeds, I guess. The second one is a really wide pulse width. The thing to note on both of those is on the first one that you can hardly see any fuel, and what you do see is giant drops. The second one is hardly atomized at all, and you see big solid streams of fuel coming out of the injectors. Probably not what we're looking for. And one more thing, I said 16 injectors earlier, and this particular setup only has 12 on it. And what I meant by the 16 was this engine and the other car did have 16 on it, and all of these injectors came from that setup. So I actually have 4 spares. Anyways, we're gonna work on it and get the injectors cleaned up. And I think what I'm actually going to do is I think I'm gonna go ahead and buy the injector cleaning machine, because this kind of comes up enough times that we could probably make a buck or two and pay for the machine and have our own injectors cleaned. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so we figured some stuff out on the dyno. We got a few things to fix. Already started tearing it apart to get those things fixed, which is mainly just an exhaust leak and a water leak. Nothing crazy, nothing bad. So the plans coming up are going to be to buy an injector cleaning machine and clean my own injectors, and then I'll probably clean some injectors for other people or something. I don't know. But anyways, having said all that, that is the end of this video. So thanks everybody for stopping by. I wish the dyno was more impressive and had big numbers and all that stuff, but just not this time. So wait for the next video. It's gonna get better. Thanks everybody for stopping by. I appreciate it. We will see you guys in the next video.